I remember the first time it happened. It was a cold, rainy Thursday. I was home alone. My parents had gone out of town for a wedding. The house felt bigger when I was alone, the silence thicker. At exactly 3:07 a.m., the doorbell rang. Sharp. Sudden. I froze. I thought I must have been dreaming, but then it rang again. I grabbed my phone, walked quietly to the door, and peeked through the peephole. No one was there. My heart pounded. I waited. Maybe it was a glitch? A prank? I double-checked the locks, turned on the porch light, and looked through the blinds. Still nothing. Eventually, I convinced myself it was nothing and went back to sleep. The next night, it rang again. 3:07 a.m. Same thing. No one there. By the third night, I was starting to panic. I didn't want to tell my parents and freak them out, so I set up my phone to record the front door. When it rang at 3:07 a.m. again, I waited behind the couch, holding a kitchen knife, my hands trembling. I reviewed the footage the next morning. My stomach dropped. At 3:07 a.m. sharp, the doorbell lit up. The camera caught a shadow, long and thin, just out of frame, moving in a strange, twitching way, like something dragging itself. The fourth night, I stayed up again, 3:07 a.m. The doorbell rang. This time, I looked through the peephole, and I saw it. A figure stood just beyond the porch light's reach, pale, gaunt, pointing directly at me. It didn't move, didn't blink, just pointed. I shut all the curtains and sat in the dark until sunrise. Later, I searched online and found an old newspaper article. A man was murdered on our porch in 1974 at 3:07 a.m. The killer was never found. The article said the man's last words were, "I told him not to ring the bell. I don't answer the door anymore." And every night at 3:07 a.m., the bell still rings. I was house-sitting for a family friend, just for the weekend. They had this big 2-story home that felt too quiet. You know the kind. Every creak sounds like a whisper. The first night, I took a shower, and before I went in, I pulled the curtain shut all the way. When I came back hours later, it was half open. I figured I just didn't close it properly. But the next day, I checked it again before I left to get groceries, closed it tight. When I got back, it was open again. Not wide open, just enough to unsettle you. By the third night, I couldn't sleep. I was hearing faint footsteps upstairs, slow ones, even though I was alone. So I set up a hidden camera in the bathroom. I pointed it at the curtain, just to be sure I wasn't going crazy. The next morning, I reviewed the footage. At 2:42 a.m., the curtain slowly slid open, and a man stepped out. I dropped my phone. He walked through the house, checked the front door, and stood over the couch where I was sleeping for almost 5 minutes, just standing, watching. Then he walked back into the bathroom and pulled the curtain shut behind him. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if he was still in there. I called the cops. They searched the house, found nothing. No signs of forced entry. No one in the attic, basement, or bathroom. But here's the thing that still makes my skin crawl. When they gave me back my phone to show them the footage, the entire video was gone, deleted, like he knew. I never went back. And to this day, I always check behind the shower curtain, even if I'm not staying there. When I was 14, I started noticing something weird about the hallway mirror in our house. At first, I thought it was just my imagination, my reflection moving a split second too late, like a glitch. But over the next few days, It got worse. I'd wave my hand, and my reflection would follow a moment later. I smiled once, and it didn't smile back. It just stared. I told my mom, but she just laughed and said I was watching too many horror movies. Then I started seeing it in other places. In my phone screen when it went black, in the window at night. Once, I caught it peering around the corner from the hallway mirror while I was brushing my teeth. But when I turned, no one was there. That night, I covered the mirror with a bedsheet. At 2:11 a.m., I woke up to the sound of whispering. I sat up. The whispering was coming from the hallway. I walked out slowly, and the sheet was on the floor. The mirror was uncovered, and standing in it was me. But not me. His eyes were black, skin too pale, like paper soaked in water. He tilted his head, mimicked my movements, then stopped, even though I kept moving. Then he smiled. A slow, wide, unnatural smile, and he stepped forward, out of the mirror. I stumbled back into my room, slammed the door, and screamed. My parents found me in the closet, crying and shaking. They said it was a nightmare, that nothing was there. But I don't use mirrors anymore, not even to brush my teeth, because sometimes I still catch him in reflections I can't control, and every time he's getting closer.